Hey there, nerds. It is May the 4th, and it's like my favorite day of the year.
These are not the
Gentlemen,
droids you're looking for.
may the 4th
Oh, oh,
be
oh.
with you.
May the 4th be with you. I know recording it on the 4th means it'll probably get out like the 6th. I always prefer Revenge of the 6th because I do like to observe Cinco de Mayo. But if you eat a lot on Cinco de Mayo, you do have Revenge of the 6th. So it still
Exactly.
plays in that way.
And
I've
I would
noticed
like
the older
to.
I get, I am much more aligning with the Sith beliefs than the Jedi. Like, especially driving.
Rage.
It's like, dude, if I had any of the Inquisitors, Vader, Emperor, any of those abilities to just force choke or lightning some of the people around me in traffic.
That's why.
all
That's
that
why the
time, I
gray
would just-
Jedi's. That's why you gotta be a gray Jedi.
Yep. No.
Nah,
I'll be
piss
so-
yellow. Piss yellow. And for those of you who are watching this, because it probably won't get released on May the 4th, you're watching this on May the 4th.
It is May the 4th.
It's May the 4th.
Man,
You
I
don't
wanna
have
see
to
a
go to
Groundhog
work
Day.
today.
I don't have to go to
Groundhog
work
Day
today.
movie that is May the 4th. So it's just constantly May the 4th.
I like that.
Dude, I'm in like Flynn.
Petition to make every
Now
day
we're talking
of May
about-
the 4th.
Now we're talking about Tron because we're in like Flynn.
Kind of, but
Anyways,
that's more of a Errol Flynn reference. But yes.
whatever. Listen,
That's a
all I
big door.
know is that Star Wars had a bunch of announcements at Celebration, and since we haven't had a chance to talk about it, today seems timely, does it not?
It does. And you know what? We will pretend we're in the 80s. And since Star Wars Celebration was in Japan, we just got the news.
We just they finally got over here via carrier pigeon, and boy, do we have some updates.
What? But was it an African pigeon or was it a
It's an
swallow?
African swallow.
Wallow. It was an or
Well, if
European.
but if you had two swallows carrying the same coconut,
All right.
I
Before we
just-
Monty Python into existence here, yeah. What? Jimmy, I believe you have most of the news right there.
I have the big one, and I will say it's not every day I get excited that a gentleman that was in a Blade Runner movie is going to be in a Star Wars movie. Jokes aside,
Chase.
Ryan Gosling is signing up for a Star Wars movie. I did not see that coming. I love this dude, not because of the Notebook or anything like that. I hate La La Land, but he is just fun. The Fall Guy, Barbie. I really enjoy Ryan Gosling. So when I heard he was going to be in Star Wars, I'm like, dude, sign me up.
yes, I completely agree with this. I love La La Land for his acting and Emma Stone's performance. I love almost everything he's in because he just, I don't know how to describe it other than he's a goofball. And he does it so well. And you have so many guys who are like, he's literally me. And it's like, it's because he has like aura, as the kids say it. It's like, he's literally me because he's a
Says the
goofball.
kid.
Shut up.
Says the kid.
Shut up. Says the old man. Where's the C, bud? And I love that he's going into Star Wars because I really hope they lead into his more goofier roles with this one, where he's kind of like a pretty flyboy who's maybe not altogether up there. And I really hope that's what they do with his character because I feel like that's perfect for him in Star Wars.
See, I want to say that like this is going to be the first time that I won't have to convince my wife to go see a Star Wars movie because Ryan Gosling is in it. Like this works out for everybody.
You know what? I think Kathleen Kennedy may have just hit the jackpot with marketing and been like, how can we really appeal to the females? Like we've tried for years. You know what? Screw it. Ryan Gosling. We're there, dude.
I mean, like I said, I as of speaking as a
I mean, absolutely. I'm excited because again, I love how goofy he can be. I think this is a really great way to make a more comedic Star Wars film. And I know there's also like an announcement for a horror one, but we'll get into that later. I love Star Wars when it can either be its goofiest or its most prophetic. And it's like this is the perfect opportunity to just be goofy as hell.
I think this is going to be serious. It's a fighter pilot movie. Like
yeah. But that's just it because you can say that like Rogue One obviously was mainly about the Rogue Squadron that was created on the spot, so to speak. And it didn't necessarily have a happy ending. Okay. No. But then you see like Poe Dameron, and he's a big old goofball, and he's one of the best star pilots in the galaxy. So you're right, Brandon. It could go either way. I honestly don't know the tone. I think it's called Starfighter. I don't remember. Did they name a director or anything with it? Or was
Now,
it
I
just
don't think so.
what was the Patty Jenkins one that got canceled? This feels like it's going to be in that same vein.
but that's still greenlit. That
Is it
came out
really?
too, and that is on. I believe it's about Rogue Squadron. I think that's what that one was
Oh, so
called,
we're going to have two.
theoretically. And this is where it
All
gets
right.
fuzzy, ladies and gentlemen. There's been so many announcements over the years, and it's hard to keep track of what's still on and what's not. Like, I believe the Ryan Johnson trilogy is still going, but
Yes.
there's really no update. It's in more of when he has a chance to break away from the Knives Out franchise. I don't know. But then like the Patty Jenkins is still on. The Donald Glover Lando is still on, but these are all like moving targets as far as we don't know when they're going to happen. I think that Taika Waititi is still going forward, but again,
Yeah.
we don't exactly know when.
There's like a spreadsheet somewhere that's like a simplification of what status for each like specific project. I don't know what specifically is confirmed or not, but it's to really just add to that point, it's all up in the air what is and isn't happening. And a lot of things haven't been canceled, but we haven't got news in a while. So it's really iffy whether it's still happening or not.
I mean, the thing is I think the thing I like about Star Wars that's different than Marvel is you can kind of take your time with these because we have such a vast timeline of events that like you don't need to have this out at a certain point in time due to someone's age or continuing the story or anything like that. Now that we have 3 different trilogies of times you can pick and choose and beyond, I thought some of this stuff was canceled, so it's good to hear that it's still greenlit and going. That's awesome.
And just to go back and revisit this, I knew it was sticking in my head. And sorry, there was just so much information, and obviously because this didn't just come out, a little fuzzy. Sean Levy is the director of the Star Wars Starfighter. Sean Levy, you may remember, is from Night of the Museum, as well as Stranger Things, and relatively recently Deadpool and Wolverine.
Relatively
So he is quite the nerd when it comes to making flicks. So, and he's got obviously a humor edge to it, even with the Stranger Things stuff. So he can basically humor, drama, action. He can do it all. So I'll be curious to see how he handles that. They also showed or had guests from The Acolyte at Star Wars Celebration, which leads to me still saying, okay, Acolyte might not have a season 2. Fine. Then let's call it The Apprentice and have it go on. So we get more of this dark side, the rise of the Emperor by way of Darth Plagueis and the dark side Sith that are coming up. I would love to see more. I hate the fandom menace that basically came out and said this sucks because the analytics are proving no, it actually did very well upon viewing. So that one I would like to see.
The best part of like watching some of the footage is that the crowd was chanting Acolyte season 2. And
good,
that is like,
because that's oh my god, that was so disappointing to see that get like we didn't even get started. Like we had 8 episodes and thrown away already. So I'm happy I didn't know they were chanting that. So that's awesome that there is some love for that show. And let it cook a little bit before we just decide it's not worth trying.
Yeah, and
Well,
I feel
don't
like
understand why there's this knee-jerk reaction to these things of love or hate. It's like, some things can just exist. Like Andor just came out as far as new episodes. It is within the Star Wars universe. Personally, Andor is not my favorite version of Star Wars. You're damn right I'm going to watch it because it's Star Wars, but it's not my favorite. Does that mean I'm going to go on and say, I hate it, I don't ever want to see any more? No, I freaking love Diego Luna. I love what this leads to with Rogue One, and I love what that leads to A New Hope. So I love having this information. But does that mean it's not necessarily my favorite? No.
Absolutely.
Was Book of Boba Fett my favorite? No. Did I thoroughly enjoy it? Hell yeah. Do I want more? Yeah, but I want more Star Wars in general. Might not like it all, though.
And that's where I get very frustrated with a lot of the fandom menace because watching Mando season 3, I had one of my friends watch it too, and he was like, nothing happens for like the first 5 episodes. Like, okay, here's the genius thing about writing is that it develops the characters so that you understand what's going on. I know a lot of people complained about the episode where it was Jack Black, Lizzo, and
Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Thank you. I loved it. It's just a fun little side quest where they're going around not doing shooting up pew pew stuff, and it's like the whole point is that it shows us how capable the characters are outside of their setting, and also it's funny to see Din Djarin fail at all like perception rolls the entire time. Like you're gonna tell us what it is, and Bo-Katan's like, no, calm down.
Yeah, like shut
Calm
up,
down.
dude. Just
And
chill.
also, I love Lizzo and Grogu. Like that's just a perfect interaction.
I thought that episode was cute as hell. And I think that's
Exactly.
something that Disney has really, in my opinion, conquered the streaming side of Star Wars, and that they have put out, again, you might not like it, but at least the things they're putting out are quality stories, quality visuals, whether it's the animation, whether it's Mandalorian, whether it's Ahsoka, no matter what it is, it's quality product. I can't necessarily say the same with their movies because the most recent trilogy was a little disjointed as far as storytelling. And I think this gives way to, hey guys, you don't need to be stuck in this traditional format of telling a trilogy when it comes to film. Because if you look at Solo and Rogue One, those are individual. They're brilliant. I love both of those. Individually, each of the trilogy movies are very interesting, but unfortunately, you set it up as a trilogy, so it doesn't really tie together as well as the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy. And I feel like this gets stuck with, and Brandon and I were there at the beginning when they're announcing a new trilogy. It's like, you guys own this now. You don't
Also,
worry about budgets and shit and contracts like Lucas did. You don't need a trilogy. Make it 10, 12, 13, 14. I don't care.
or one-offs. Make them one-offs.
Exactly. Don't hamstring yourself with this. Has to be 3.
But like also, if you're a Star Wars fan, like you really need to look at this time and be grateful that you have anything to even complain about. Like I mean, geez, when we started doing stuff like this, Jimmy, like we didn't have new shit, like even when the
books, that was it.
And nobody and most of the people that claim to be big Star Wars fans have never read any of that shit. So
Which
it's
is
like
proof, because they're like, how'd the Emperor come back? It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
even within, and I'm going to get on a little high horse, even
Oh.
in the movies themselves, there's like, okay, maybe the dude who dissolved the Galactic Senate, took over the entire galaxy, and ruled it for a decent amount of time, would have a goddamn backup plan. I don't know. Maybe the most conniving man in the freaking galaxy would figure out how to come back. It's not implausible. We see he has the technology. We see he's smart enough. It's not implausible. And I see people being like, well, Snoke should have been Palpatine. It's like, he was. He was literally a failed Palpatine clone. Are you stupid?
Well, that's what drives me nuts about that specifically is Disney bought Star Wars. The first book that came out was Ahsoka, but it was written pre-Disney, but then it was accepted in because it was released after Disney. But the first books that I'm aware of that came out with Disney was the Aftermath books. And they literally tell about the story of Jakku getting to the final battle and what the Emperor's plan was in case everything failed, which led to the new movies.
Yes.
It's like, you guys already had it out there before the movies even came out, what was going to happen. And then you get mad when it actually happens. It's like, I don't understand.
Yeah. And what bothers me even more is that people are saying the Bad Batch is trying to excuse stuff. It's like, it's literally taking what was in those books and making it available for a wider audience because you dum-dums refused to read the books or like do anything outside of just the film and TV stuff.
Well, like my thing is like you okay, like you can not be happy. You can be not happy with the final 3 movies, right? But if they're giving us information that's trying to make it make sense, then that's all I need. Like if you're on standalone basis, if you're watching it going like, well, none of this makes sense to me, you're now filling in those cracks. So at least they're trying to play cleanup with some of that.
Exactly.
And like you said, expose it to people who, I don't know, you're never going to make everybody happy, but
not in Star Wars.
No.
And that's what
no,
they did.
God, no.
The prequels. The prequel movies themselves were not received great. But the books, and specifically the Clone Wars that came out to enhance that universe that Lucas had created, were phenomenal, just
Yes.
amazing. And then it made the prequels that much better. We really haven't given enough time to this latest trilogy to build up these other medium to inform us more. So I do think it's going to get better. I think the stories that they contain were pretty good. And I think what we're going to see now afterwards, because we've learned from those quote unquote mistakes, are just going to be better stories. If anything,
Yeah, absolutely. And a big thing I see is people like, oh, they're retconning. It's like, that's no, you see retconning in the original trilogy.
big.
And it's like there isn't anything wrong with retconning unless it's so egregious. And Star Wars has, in my opinion, never done anything so bad that it's like, how the hell did this happen? I can't think of a single plot point. Unless, correct me, because my memory is also
I think
ass.
the
So
one, and it is huge now, and I think it's kind of going away for what we've talked about because people haven't seen the original. Han shooting first, I think it's
yes,
probably the closest thing to changing something in the originals, retconning it, because you 100% change the character that is Han Solo by having him react to Greedo shooting versus preemptively shooting, because now he's a scoundrel pirate versus, oh, he's just some lucky dude.
yeah,
No,
and
I will always agree that Han shot first.
Sean Hot first.
Sean Hot first, dude.
Sean Hot
Sean
first.
Hot first, bro.
We have a new shirt. Thank you, Brendan.
Hey, whatever, man.
We just have to call it like Brandon Incorporated. It's just like all his beautiful little.
That's
fluffs.
called Brandon Tisms.
What we got, Mon Mothra.
Brandon Tisms.
Rain of corn.
Yeah,
But it's
And
I
Sean
like
Hot first.
Sean Hot first, bro.
I feel like a lot of, and thank you to my core humanities professor, because I love it when she says testosterone-laden beings, because that's the perfect way to describe the fandom menace. Testosterone-laden beings who have nothing going on up here, just complaining. I feel like they have the Lexile level of a 2-year-old, and so they are incapable of like actually
Lexile.
reading anything.
Yeah, hold on,
And it's like, oh my god, guys! And it's I have a good friend. We've recently been.
Is that us? Are you talking about
I think he's talking about. I think he's
I don't
talking
know
about
what
me.
you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, here's something to think about with all this stuff. When people get pissed about the retconning and everything else, like there's also part of this that deals with even you, James, now no longer being the prime demographic of what they're looking for.
No.
Like I worked with this guy who was just the biggest neckbeard, and all the time was telling me how they're actually going to retcon the last 3 movies and this and that because he hated it and it was a thing. And I was like, listen, dude, people like, even like I said, in their 20s and up are not who they're looking for anymore. They're looking at children and all the little girls that were into Rey that are now going to be like teens that are into Rey is who they're shooting for, because that's where the merchandise. And also, like, shut the fuck up. You're still going to Disneyland and buying a replica hilt and going to, and that was my thing too, is like you're gonna retcon this, but Disneyland just built an entire area of their theme park dedicated to the later movies. So like
exactly.
I don't know where that's coming from, but whatever.
And I love Rey as a character. I think her arc is amazing. I don't fully agree with the Palpatine stuff, but I've learned to love it because I love the fact that she embraces that heritage, but chooses to be Skywalker because it's given new meaning through these movies. I love her story. And anybody who says she's a Mary Stu can shove it up their damn ass.
You can choose your family.
Exactly. Luke Skywalker is more of a Gary Stu than Rey will ever be, because he had training for maybe 5 days. We see him with Yoda twice. And he is the whiniest motherfucker in episode 4.
Something else I always love to argue with or just like get people going is when I'm like, well, a kind of Return of the Jedi is actually referring to Vader coming back into Anakin to kill
exactly.
No, it's because Luke returns and he's been trained. I'm like, yeah, but he gets his ass kicked.
Exactly. The whole point.
Whoa. Calm down. We find that Luke uses non-confrontation to win all his battles thanks to Last Jedi. But no, he did not get his ass kicked. He was
He got
very
his ass kicked.
at the end,
He
like
chose
Mahatma
to get his
Gandhi,
ass kicked.
so he could win. And he was the Jedi who brought the Jedi back because he turned his father. Yes.
Anakin saved Luke because Luke got his ass kicked.
No, Lucas was watching it and go, you know what? We can't call this Revenge of the Jedi because it's not about Vader. It's about Luke. So it's Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, Anakin returning to be a Jedi. Hold on, check this out, though.
Revenge of the Jedi.
Anyways, but I mean, to go into that point, Disney kind of brilliantly, well, I'm going to give more credit to Ryan Johnson in his writing with 8. He brilliantly showed that when Luke tried to do something through enforcement and conflict, it failed horribly with Ben. And it's...
I did step across the room to grab the lightsaber I built at Galaxy's Edge.
Oh my God! It's a special edition from A New Hope that they
the batteries have died, so I do need to replace the batteries. But loved this
from the Unspecial.
And Anakin Skywalker being Anakin Skywalker. The battery died. I'll fix it later.
Yeah. Also, this was with Free Comic Book Day yesterday. Marvel put this out, and it's a preview of upcoming stuff for Star Wars. Now, they've done 2 Star Wars series since Disney bought the property. The first series took place between episode 4 and 5. Second one between...
Be specific, because they've done a lot of Star Wars, but this is the...
No, the main Star Wars book title. Titled Star Wars. We've got Dr. Aphra. We've got really good Darth Vader books.
All the Darth Vader.
There's a great War of the Bounty Hunter stuff. There's been really good Star Wars books, but this is a preview of stuff to come. There's a Jedi Knights book. There is a Kylo Ren that is taking place, I believe, in the same, like a little further down between episode 6 and 7. But the main Star Wars book, which is going to be that, is going for the first time going to continue after Return of the Jedi.
That's awesome, because the Timothy Zahn stuff is really all we have that doesn't exist canon anymore.
Yeah.
And what I really like of what Star Wars has done for the comic book title, which is the main stream that ties 4, 5, and 6 together so far, is they tell things that happened in between. And one of my favorite was the War of the Bounty Hunters, is we are getting details between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, where in my brain, Han was frozen, Boba Fett delivered him Jabba the Hutt, then we get right back to Leia and team getting Han Solo back. And then reading that, it was like, oh no, Boba Fett lost him. He kind of thought of it. They're trying to get it. And then we got Crimson coming in with Kiara trying to get Han. And it's like, whoa, this is awesome. Did not know any of this existed.
Excuse me, Mr. the Hutt. I may have lost Han Solo. How do you lose a man in carbonite?
Well, that's what was
how do you lose it?
And that's how the war started, because Jabba's like thinking Boba's holding out on him when he's not really, because he's trying to deal with the Empire as well. So Jabba enlists all the bounty hunters and whoever brings Han Solo in, and that's where the war came in. It was
a giant block. How do you lose a giant block?
It's
Listen,
awesome.
man.
I know. It's just funny.
This is the same. This is the same guy who got tripped into a Sarlacc pit. So
that is true. That is
but
true.
But then we get more adventures with Lando Calrissian and Forlom. No, the dude with the thing on his head. And you see this relationship.
Oh man, that was heartbreaking.
You see this relationship where you're like, oh my God, Lando has feelings, and he really has feelings for androids or robots or whatever because of the movie Solo. But then his reaction to this guy who in Empire Strikes Back is just a tool, and you're like, this is so touching. This is crazy. And that's the comic books.
Yeah.
Here's a question I have. Here's a question I have, and I don't know. Like, I've never seen an explanation for this, and if anybody's going to know it, it's going to be you. Why at the end of Empire is Lando wearing Han's clothes? Has that ever been explained for any reason whatsoever?
Hear me out. Headcanon. He found out that Han and Kira tried on his capes, and so he's getting back at Han.
I think it's because he literally ran off of Cloud City with what he was wearing.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I guess that's a fair.
In the Millennium Falcon, and that's all he's got, and he doesn't want to go all over that medical ship with Luke and Leia trying to find something to wear. And then as we
All
see
right.
when he gets to Jabba's palace, he's already in his
Just
bounty
my
hunter.
size. Just my size.
That's my guess. I have never really broken it down. I'm sure the escape pod that they jettisoned in Solo had all his clothes, so now those are gone from the Millennium Falcon. So he's got to do with whatever's on board, and we clearly know he had to go wash that shit because Han Solo never changed his outfit, so who knows what he had going on.
Okay, also fair.
And it's
He did get
I
a new
mean,
jacket though in The Force Awakens. He clearly makes it known to Leia that he got
At some
a new
point, he's like,
and
check
I
this out.
mean the disguise he wears in Return is what Beckett wore in Solo. So it's like, I mean, at least did he wear it? No, didn't Beckett wear it in Solo?
No, because that outfit was just the little mask where you can see his face.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about the one. Was it? I thought it was the one that Leia was wearing.
No, Leia wore the other helmet with like the thing.
Yeah.
He had like the curly like bone
I'll have to go
one.
back and check.
Yeah, that's the one Beckett's wearing. I think. I mean, look, my memory's ass. Hell if I know. But I do want to touch on some Darth Vader stuff because recently, look, I love villains, but I feel like a lot of people have begun to misunderstand Vader as a character, and it's even funnier considering Kylo Ren is basically the Vader fanboy, the Phantom Menace is, and it's like, yes, we're getting a lot of amazing Vader content, and I love it, but I feel like people are misunderstanding. It's like Vader hates himself. Vader hates everybody. Vader hates everything. But people are like, oh, he's so cool. He's so awesome. It's like, no, you're misunderstanding who Vader is as a character. And therefore, you're almost like perverting the content that's coming out and diluting its meaning. So please stop.
That's where I think those comic books from Disney are phenomenal because they really delve into the character of Vader that we've never seen before. One of my favorites is where he keeps having visions of Padme and he can't fathom.
Oh my God, man.
And then
so
it turns
good.
out it's her handmaidens that are trying to get in contact with him, and they all were meant to look alike, which you can't really get across the movies because you can tell the difference between Natalie Portman and everybody else. But in theory, when you're doing the imagination on your own, it's like, oh, this is brilliant. So when they delve into that in the comic books, and Vader is really distraught that, oh my God, is Padme still alive? Because he doesn't know. He didn't see what happened to her. Did the Emperor lie to me, which he does constantly? It's so beautiful what they get across in those comic books.
Did the guy who lies to me all the time to make me angry lie to me to make me angry?
Well, that's another one I don't understand when people Phantom Menace is like, well, how did they not know? Or why did Anakin go this far? It's like, because the Emperor projected these thoughts.
Because the story was written that way.
Exactly. It's
the Emperor was controlling Anakin this whole time, exactly like he did with Kylo Ren. We understand that. We see that now. And I think maybe part of the problem is people don't realize how powerful the Emperor was. Palpatine, Sheev, whatever you want to call him, Sidious. And that he basically culminated this vision that was a Sith that, I know it's not canon, but I'm going to pretend it is, with Darth Bane and the Rule of Two, and that he was finally coming to fruition of the Sith taking over, and he's that powerful, and that's who he is. But at the same time, and this is why I love the Acolyte, we're showing the Jedi are fallible. Hugely fallible.
And they always have been.
I think that's been my favorite thing.
Stagnant.
I think that's been my favorite thing of kind of like the world building is realizing that like they have not been the people that everybody thought they were. And I think that just folds into what we're going to get with Rey. And basically what everybody's wanting to see was a more thought out Jedi Order.
Exactly. And to the people who, my fellow Kia di Mundi haters, thank you. Thank you. We hate that guy. He sucks.
Yeah, he's to me, he is exactly what the Jedi are in the prequels, in that, no, they've not been around for thousands of years. It's like, shut up, dude. Like, you're just speculating. You have no idea. Now you're starting this rumor that they're not around, so we're not going to investigate. It's like, dear God, there's one right there.
Not to mention, he permitted the use of flamethrowers on Wookiees.
He's right behind you.
Yeah.
I hate him. I hate him. I cheer every time he dies in Revenge of the Sith. It's like the only death I'm happy about.
Well, that brings up some interesting issues you have.
Yeah, you might want to talk to your therapist.
But anyway, another great point at Star
Anywho.
Wars
Star
Celebration
Wars is my therapist.
was Ian McDiarmid, aka the Emperor, coming out and basically explaining, yes, he totally believes Sheev could have had sex and thus created.
I know,
Rey.
right? I don't get why people thought that was like out of the question. That it's
I
like
just love that he's like, no. This is perfect. I've thought about this. I was really only brought on for Return of the Jedi, but now it's become this huge thing where I am literally the Emperor for life. And I thought about it, and yes, it's possible.
100% it is. Why
Okay.
wouldn't it be?
I
It's
know.
like-
I love though that he's taking it serious. I love that he's like, yep, possible.
and it's like to me,
Happened.
it's like yeah, it makes perfect sense. How would the evil space guy have progeny? I don't know. He's the evil space guy. Think about it for 2 seconds, and you're like, oh, yeah, that makes a little more sense than it should. And the people complaining about the sexual assault stuff in Andor, it's almost as if the evil empire that does evil things would have evil people that do evil things.
Oh, and it's not like Return of the Jedi. We see a Twi'lek slave dancer not doing what Jabba wants, and she's killed.
No,
Yeah.
no,
I believe
swear,
that's
I swear.
kind of worse.
And then he
than
kidnaps Leia and makes her dress how?
No,
I know.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I think we've seen this before.
I just have to say, I swear, space titties are crucial to the plot of Return of the Jedi.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr.
You
Ross.
you heard it here first.
Yes, you did.
And what a I don't
Guys,
know.
trust.
I feel like that
Trust.
brought us to the natural conclusion of this segment.
Yes. Wow. Thank you, James.
Thanks,
for
James.
clarifying that.
We could have done that for another hour, but here we are. And then,
Anyway, so another Star Wars announcement was we are, and again, people, I don't want to be a gatekeeper. We keep getting called that. It's like, I'm not saying you can't watch these and enjoy these. I am saying I have no idea how you watched Ahsoka if you've never seen Rebels and Clone Wars.
That is, yeah, that's
don't know how you
impressive. Because it's
understood
basically Rebels Season 5.
But this is not a new thing of horror in the Star Wars universe, but it is in the realm of Disney introducing a horror topic, i.e., movie, in the idea we're going to have a Star Wars horror movie. And I think that is
Yeah.
pretty badass.
yeah,
Yeah.
why would things not be scary? Like
One of my
Space,
favorites is a book called Lockdown with Maul, and he's basically tasked to go to prison to get stronger by the Emperor. And it is not necessarily a horror film, but a lot of things that happen are horrific, and it's phenomenal to read. And there's another one with zombies. Read something, I can't remember.
Cubby had it one time. I don't know. Are both of those still canon or no?
No.
Or the Maulins in canon? No.
And thankfully,
And we're getting, hey, speaking of Maul, we're getting a new Darth Maul series.
Are they bringing in Revan, or is that just a rumor?
that was a
Yeah.
rumor. Well, they're talking more and more about the Knights of the Old Republic, so it's not guaranteed what's going to happen, but that
Filoni has wanted to use Revan for a very long time, and I think they are carefully choosing when that gets reintroduced.
Okay, I didn't
but
know that was a
I mean,
rumor or not.
I think as far as wanting him to exist, he's definitely going to again, but nothing official yet. Because originally there was a deleted scene in Clone Wars when they go to the planet with the sister, the father, and the brother. And originally the brother's meditating, and you see Revan and Bane. And I think even back then they were like, we're not sure what we want to do with Revan yet. So,
well, if I remember correctly from the books, Revan is still out there somewhere, incapacitated by the Sith.
Really?
I don't think they ever resolved that, if I remember correctly. I mean, it's been a long time and is not canon, but
that's probably what they're waiting on then.
Yeah,
Somehow-
still under lock and key, so to speak.
Somehow Darth Revan returned.
Somehow.
And I want to get to Obi-Wan made this all make sense from a certain point of view. So the whole goddamn story could be a lie from one point of view versus the other, but it doesn't matter because it's all from a certain point.
And it's like, thank you, Alec Guinness, for your incredible acting in episodes 4, 5, and 6, because you don't get the prequels without Ian McKellen, or not Ian McKellen, without Alec Guinness.
You don't get prequels without Ian McKellen.
Well, yeah, because without Ian McKellen, nothing's possible. All things are possible through Ian McKellen.
You get like the eye dart in episode 4, or the certain point of view in episode 6, or like all the little microcosm acting things that Alec Guinness did as Obi-Wan. You don't get the prequels. You just don't, because if he
I
had not
actually
done,
think all things are possible to Christopher Lee. I love Ian McKellen, but Christopher Lee is probably the reason that most everything exists.
I do agree with that.
But as you were saying, no, I agree with you with that.
Yeah, but
I
so
just
I keep going on tangents.
well, we've talked about some of the things that bother us about some of the fandoms, but like I said before, you guys should be grateful you have anything to even complain about. Like this is such a fun time to have Star Wars stuff to look at and enjoy and have coming out, whether you're a comic book fan, whether you're a book fan, whether you're a movie or TV. Like there is a facet that you can enjoy it in just about every kind of medium, and I think that is just awesome.
And what's
Yes.
nice is we have options. Like I have fallen behind with a lot of the animated series, specifically the ones geared toward more of the younger kids.
Cool.
That would have never happened in the 80s and 90s, mainly because we didn't have that much. But now that we
Yeah,
have so much, I get to pick and choose what I watch and read. Whatever I get to choose. And it's awesome because eventually I'll get all of it. But it doesn't necessarily mean I like all of it. And that's okay.
Exactly. It's my biggest thing is that whenever I talk Star Wars with someone, the first thing I say is, do you not like the sequels because you've been told they're bad and you haven't rewatched them? Or do you not like them because the stories they tell are just not something you care for? And 90% of the time, people will be like, it's just not a story I care for. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like anything. But do not go on the internet, say it's bad, not provide critical analysis, and then make other people think it's bad. I love episode 8. I admit, Canto Bite is probably the worst section of it and could be completely wiped from it and nothing would change. But I love it for various different reasons. I know, okay? You don't
I
have to
enjoy.
tell me.
I don't hate the
Exactly.
last three. I don't hate the
I
last three.
don't I don't either. But people will go on the internet and be like, they're bad, they suck. And it's like, do you just not like it? Or do you like genuinely have criticism as to why it's bad? And most of the time, they just don't like it. And it's like, please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Just don't watch it. Just don't watch it. It's that easy. Recognize it exists. Don't watch it.
Well, that's one thing I do want to clarify, and we're going to wrap Brandon into this over the summer. But James and I went back and watched the DVD, meaning non HD versions of the original Star Wars movies that were released theatrically. George Lucas wants these gone from history. So when he did release this DVD set, it was not a good film transfer to digital version. He fully was aware of that. When we watched it on a high definition television. Sorry, folks, that's all I have. On a
Humble
Blu-ray,
brag.
I know exactly. On a Blu-ray that showed the DVD. So as I'm saying this, our critiques were not rage bait. It was meant for an experiment. And to be honest, it blew up in my face because I thought for sure I was going to like the original theatrical version better. I really did because that's my memories as a child. And I went back and watched them like, oh my God, this is rough. Like you could literally see the layering with the blue screen and the effects, and the asteroids looked horrible. And then this light speed just wasn't there. And then R2D2 in the X Wing, just the coloring was off. And I was floored at how hard it was to watch these versions because it hadn't been updated. That being said, still was awesome to see Han shoot. Not first, shoot, because
Yes.
Greedo did not shoot at all in the originals.
Exactly.
Also awesome to see the pacing where we don't have Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine with Han. It just went right to them blasting out of Mos Eisley. Seeing these things were awesome, and that's why we weren't rage baiting. We were really just comparing what you see now on Disney Plus versus what the original theatrical version told. I cannot give you the quality of what the film would be because I don't have access to that. All I had access was this crappy DVD transfer that we watched on HD. So please, as you go watch them, watch our videos as a commentary on the differences. We are not hating on Star Wars. We are not
Exactly.
rage baiting.
But also, I mean, is there another movie that like in history has? I don't mean like remastered. I mean, is there another movie that you can think of or franchise you can think of that redid and added shit to any sort of release of anything? Like,
There's one interesting now that's coming out. I Am Legend, the theatrical version, had Will Smith dying by way of blowing
Yes.
himself up.
They had the alternate ending on the DVD or Blu-ray if you
Exactly. And
bought it.
now they're making a sequel that's based on that alternate ending where Will Smith is still alive. So that's an interesting retcon. You also have examples of Exorcist Dominion that came out and was shot. I don't remember the original director. They shot a whole film. Studio hated it, shelved it. Came out,
Really?
reshot it. It's Stellan Skarsgård. And they released that second one. They have since come back and re-released the original to show the difference. I've not seen it yet. It's been years, so it's not like I'm missing. I just haven't gotten around to it. So that was an interesting example. You have examples like the Superman movie, the very first one. Richard Donner shot that as back-to-back, essentially, the original and the sequel. He broke a lot of laws and caused a lot of problems and pissed off Gene Hackman and the studio because they wanted it more lighthearted, and they fired him. So we basically had 85% of the sequel already shot and the first one shot done. They had to go back and film in scenes. And I've seen the Richard Donner cut, but I've only learned more about this recently. They had to utilize Gene Hackman walked off set. He refused to come back. So
Really?
they had to shoot a lot of stuff with the Zod without Gene Hackman. And they came out and I can't remember his name, who played Zod. Dang it, he's in Phantom Menace too. Anywho, he's like, I've never met Gene Hackman because they had to shoot our scenes with a stand-in and footage that they already shot. I've never actually met him. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Did not know that. So there's interesting things like that where it was sort of retconned as they made it. But as far as you're asking, I cannot think of a movie that has been made where the original was so altered in future stories that were told after the fact, or then altered in the original because it was retouched. I can't think of another franchise where that exists.
Here we go.
You're going back to ancient Greece with this one, baby.
Here's where all the shit's gonna come from then. If you like all these people that want to be like Star Wars purists and whatever, then those should be the only versions you like because they were edited and changed. So you should be really upset at the new versions that are on Disney Plus and the only versions that you can watch. That should piss you off if you're mad about everything else about Star Wars. Like that should really upset you.
But then you need to hold true to Splinter of the Mind's
No,
Eye.
it doesn't. They're fucking. They're not. Nobody's doing that.
Don't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
You should read the comments on our own YouTube page, Brandon. It's ridiculous the amount of hate we're getting for just telling the differences between these films and which we like more. And it's like, if you are a fan of McClunky, good on you. I don't understand what Greedo is saying when he says McClunky. Okay, but it doesn't mean I hate the new ones or that I hate the old ones. It just means whatever the dude changed.
Are they on the shorts or are they on the actual long videos?
Mainly the shorts.
Pulling it up.
Read the long.
Yeah, no, I wanna.
No, and that's real. The best way I can put it is I love Star Wars. And I love all of them. I will die on the hill that 7, 8, 9 are ranging from pretty damn good to decent. I don't think they are bad movies in any capacity. I think they have their issues. And I definitely take issue with the behind the scenes stuff with 8 and 9, a little more so on 9, but that's a whole different story. But yes, it's what happens when you go from 77 filmmaking to 99, 2000, whatever updates they have now. There is such a change in graphics and fidelity. And again, Lucas hates the original versions. He wants them dead. So he's not going to do a visual update that's really, really good because he doesn't want that. He wants to have the best possible version he can with the CG and the updated visuals. I will admit, it was a lot of fun watching the theatrical releases. I like some of the choices in the original theatrical release. I enjoy some of the choices more in the new ones because A, it's way easier on the eyes, and B, it's a theatrical version. The second I see like the color strip for the artifacting of the blue screen, I'm taken out of the film.
Hey, somebody on here said I refuse to watch any special edition version. I want to watch what I saw when I was a kid, not what George thinks I should watch. Good on you, Steve TK420.
And
Blaze
good luck
it, dude.
finding it. And I hope
Blaze
you enjoy the holiday special every year because that's
I am trying to find.
It's
I
on
know
YouTube.
they.
Oh, you want the physical?
I know
you want
they
the-
exist. I know they exist on certain websites. I don't want to name in case anybody sees this and tries to get them to not be available. But I know there's some websites you can try. You can possibly find like somebody burned them onto a DVD,
All right.
and I would like to own them just to own them because that's I'm a
What you got to
collector.
do, Brandon? What you got to do, Brandon, is got to get up the YouTube video. You got to set up your phone on a tripod.
All right.
Then,
Anyways, guys,
and then transfer the
do we
footage
have
onto a CD.
Any other Star Wars news?
Ahsoka season 2.
Yes.
We've already talked about the recasting, which I have no problem with, obviously because he passed away.
Yeah.
So it's not like a slight to him or anything
also,
like that.
like let them recast. It's acting. Let people be the same character.
I love how they're like, oh, we don't do that. It's like, you've recast Mon Mothma from
Mon Mothra to
Obi-Wan
Mon Mothma.
flipping
Return of the
Kenobi.
Jedi. I had no problem with that because she's younger in the prequels, and then thank God the actress looks very similar. So now she's in Andor. Awesome.
They recast Anakin Skywalker.
All right, this guy over here.
Seriously, you make a point, and then this guy's here.
Who
They
let him in?
recast one of the greatest versions of Lando I have ever seen. Like Donald Glover is genius. Love it.
Okay,
I had zero problems with recasting Han Solo. I thought that movie is just hated for what happened.
I mean, what you want him to die like Harrison Ford's hair and be like, you're 22.
Exactly. I thought that was great. I still like the idea of Sebastian Stan standing in for Mark Hamill in younger versions of Luke Skywalker. It won't happen, but I love that.
Won't happen, but yeah.
I love the idea of Millie Bobby Brown standing in as Carrie Fisher as a younger version. Please do that. I thought the little girl that played Princess Leia was great. She was
awesome. I love her.
I have no problem because I want more Star Wars. I want these stories to be told, and I don't necessarily need you to de-age Mark Hamill. I'm cool if we have somebody stand in to tell me these stories. Please.
Exactly. That's the beauty of storytelling is that it doesn't matter who plays the character as long as they play the character well. That's all that should matter.
And honestly, when you recast, like Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa is now Benjamin Bratt as Bail Organa, it makes me more concerned of, is Jimmy Smits okay? I'm not.
I just want to make sure he's okay.
Oh my God, the behind the scenes shit. It's like, no, it's like, I hope Jimmy Smits is okay because
he's fucking great and I love him.
I just remember they recast Boba Fett.
Yeah, they did.
Another thing I actually did not like in the special editions, not necessarily special editions because it didn't happen until they cast Jango Fett, but hearing the original voice of Boba Fett was very pleasing. I have nothing against was it Tamura Morrison? I have nothing against him.
He's great.
I love
He's outstanding.
I love him as an actor. I love what he did with the clones. I love what he did with Jango Fett. It's just that Pacific Islander accent. When I grew up with a different Boba Fett, is just funky to me. So hearing the original voice again was refreshing.
They recast the Emperor.
Yes.
So I'm having fun with this.
Anyways,
yeah.
I cannot believe I created that. Like
you did. You're responsible for
my Snoke.
That's right
my Snoke right there. That's why he died because so annoying.
I'll have to cut him in half.
What?
Sorry, James.
Wait.
Darth Maul! Darth Maul time!
I get my potential Ray.
Didn't they recast
the grandkids come around, and then he's obsolete. That's fine.
Yeah, they recast Darth Maul.
And I am joking, internet. I do not need he's over 18, so you're not going to call child services or anything like that. But
yes, you could, and they would be like, "There's not much we can do."
My child, he's fine.
He's great. We love him.
I don't know where he's going to live this summer, but he's fine.
He'll figure it out.
These two are horrible liars. I'm just going to say that right now.
No, I'm not. I'm a really good liar.
No, he's a great liar, dude. Your dad is a outstanding liar.
And now I love you.
He's lied to me for years, dude.
Chopper gets a machine gun. I'm happy about that.
Cool. So I guess that's the end of our segment.
All right, there we go.
Thank you for watching. Please direct all comments about hatred towards James. Otherwise, Brandon and I love everything, as you know.
I love everything.
If I had a nickel for every
time you hated
something, I'd be rich.
That's a name.
Hey guys,
I've not heard in a long time.
May the 4th be with you, and we'll see you next time.
It's always May the 4th.
May the fourth be with you.
We'll get comments on that.
Oh, I can't wait.